What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of R&R. As always, I'm Logan.
I'm Ethan, and today we are going to hit the 1-year review on the Steiner MPS enclosed emitter duty grade optic. We've got about 8,000 rounds through the shadow systems with the MPS mounted on it. So I'd venture to say it's gotten a pretty good abuse over the last year. It's held up well. We've got a few talking points that we're going to try to hit, but just real quick, we'll kind of start out with how we actually personally feel about it. I think it's a good optic. I'm not sure it's worth the money if you were going to be buying at full retail price, but if you can find a good deal on them, it's solid.
Yeah, I mean, kind of with that, talking about price and stuff. What, 600-ish?
Yeah,
roughly. Full price.
It's MSRP. You can see them right now on Amazon for about $479, $480.
Yeah. So even $500 give or take, after tax or whatever. But if you have veteran status or LEO or whatever, maybe just kind of
$380, about $100 off of that even.
So I mean, if you have that tier status, I mean, get yourself some money off. I mean, obviously it's a no-brainer. But yeah, like he said, for the MSRP or even just regular price,
you're getting close to acro.
It's up in the air.
You're getting close to that acro price range, and in a lot of ways, I do think this is a better optic than the acro. But I also think the acro is better in quite a few ways as well.
They definitely both have their pros and cons. I mean, everything has its pros and cons. But kind of like he said, 8,000 rounds, give or take, with the shadow systems, or with the Steiner on the shadow systems, and realistically, that's more than sufficient, in my opinion. I mean, you see people, this is a 500 round review, 1,000 round review, which, it is what it is. If something's going to fail, it's probably going to be around 1,000.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, and also the big thing is, too, we've also used it in a lot of different temperature swings.
Yeah.
I use this as my CCW, so, like, in the truck, out of the truck, getting cold, going somewhere, you got to leave underneath the seat in the truck, whatever it may be, gets super cold. Coming down here when it's super cold.
Being great state of Ohio, it was 55, 60 degrees 3 days ago. Now it's, as you guys can tell, real feel 20-something degrees and snow again. So this thing does go through its paces, and it gets bumped, it gets
a lot of heating and cooling cycles.
Yeah.
So like as far as that, like it's sealed well, the nitrogen purging's good, there's no fog or anything inside the actual optic. But we'll hit a few of the talking points that we kind of have set up. I'll kind of go over the pros. I'll let you hit the cons. So pros, we've got window size. I'd say that's the main thing. Of all the enclosed emitters out there, mainly the acro and some of the competitors, it does have a wider window than all of them. So it is really nice for, when you push out, you can really pick up that dot quick. It's nice and open. So I would say
I have OCD, I'm sorry.
I would say the window size is the first pro. The clarity on the glass is phenomenal. So glass clarity, it's really nice. I'd say, I mean, we're both coming from RMRs, type 1s, type 2s. The glass is so much clearer on this than it is on an RMR. It's unreal. There's no blue tinting, no fish eyeing. I mean,
and that's not a shot at Trijicon,
no,
because that's just how it's always been. It's what they do. I mean,
kind of like you don't know it's bad until you got something else kind of thing, But it's okay. So we'll keep on moving on. Window clarity is phenomenal. Holding zero. This thing has gotten racked off stuff, dropped off stuff. I mean, just last week.
Just 5 seconds ago, it fell off the table. I mean,
last week I was carrying it into his house. We were getting ready to do the podcast, or 2 weeks ago. Got my arms full of stuff, and it was sitting on top in the holster, and it slides off and just lands directly on the glass, like this corner. You might be able to see it. We might get a little B-roll of it so you can see it, but a little scuff, but not on the glass, just on the housing. But it held zero. Everything's good. So. Holding zero, durability, that's a definitely a big pro. Brightness levels, even we're shooting full sun with a white background, sun directly in our faces. It's got plenty of adjustment. It gets plenty bright. It's got plenty of settings when it gets dark out to drop it down. I mean, so I would say the brightness settings, that's not an issue. I know some guys have kind of mentioned that here and there, that this only has 13 or 14 brightness settings. And it's like, that's plenty.
How many do you need at that point?
So the buttons on the side for adjusting the brightness up and down, I really like them. They're audible. They're easy to kind of feel. Even like if you're like in the concealed position, you can kind of just reach your hand under there and know, like,
Just going with that, with a pro of it, you know, the baby brother with the Burris.
Yes.
I mean, that thing, you literally have to like put it up to your ear, stop breathing, and like listen as well as you can, you know, to hear those audible clicks. And even then,
well, that's for the elevation and windage. I'm just talking about the brightness adjustment.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about that.
That's actually next pro is the audible elevation and windage adjustments, which you.
Yeah. So literally what I just said.
Yeah.
Added on to this topic, it is like that fast fire. It's a great optic. It really is for
Yeah.
you know, I got it for $200 or whatever,
$150.
$150. So, but when you're sitting there and you're clicking, you literally like you can hardly feel it, and the audibleness is
Not there.
if that's a word. The
I think
audibleness is
on
not
the
there.
elevation it was a little bit audible, but on the
Yeah.
windage, nothing.
Yeah.
So the looks, I think it looks cool. I
Yeah.
think it looks better than most of your enclosed emitters out there.
I mean, and that too, that'll be everyone. That's to each
Yeah,
their own.
that's,
Like that'll be everyone's
personal preference kind of thing.
So I mean, if you like the big mailbox styles, I mean,
yeah.
and it has, you know, it has some curves. It has, you know, it has some nice, real like clean, jagged line. You know, just
angular lines.
yeah. I mean, just kind of like a pretty optic.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. So
And I mean, we got a really good deal on this one. I would have had it in black, but we got a really good deal on the tan one, so I went with the tan one.
I mean, you can always spray paint it.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get a tan Surefire eventually or something to, you know. But anyways, so keep on moving on from that.
I digress.
The other one of the last two things I was going to mention, it's USA made.
Yeah.
That is a big plus. It's
Yep.
very nice. Customer service from Steiner is phenomenal. There's one because it's got like a weird lockout setting where you hold down both buttons for like 10 seconds, and the actual optic flashes, the reticle flashes, and I couldn't figure out how to turn it off, and I didn't want to open up and try to read the owner's manual.
We're guys. We don't read stuff.
11 Bravo, remember? Anyways,
It's a,
so I called them, and they answered right away, and they're like, "Yeah, you know, do this." Got
not
it
only
done.
do we not read, we just can't read.
Yeah. Sometimes it's not an option. You know what I mean? So USA made, customer support's good. That's a big plus for a lot of people. It's a big plus for me. I like having USA made stuff if I can. But I'd say the last thing we're going to hit on the pros, it fit every holster.
Yeah.
So we've got a whole box of old holsters and stuff, whether it's Comptex, like old, you know,
Yeah.
330
old
position.
paddle holsters
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
We've tried all kinds of different stuff, and it fit in all of them. So that's a big plus. But anyways, so we'll move on to the cons list, and that's
Yeah.
Gonna
So
be
with
all you.
with the cons, not many, honestly, but the few that they do have,
we got to be critical, though. You know,
100%. But the few that we do have, they could be game breakers for
deal
some.
breakers.
Yeah, deal breakers, game breakers for people. So the battery life,
sucks.
it's not great. They recommend what, like every 4 to 6 months, or every
13,000 hours.
Yeah, so like every 6 months or so, give or take.
I changed it out 6 months after I bought it.
Yeah, so-
and I just changed it out again recently.
I mean, you have that and you have some optics that are 40 to 50K plus.
50,000 hours. That's you know,
That's
you
like
gotta
your
think about-
standard.
That's 5 years.
Yeah, I mean that's your standard really on most optics
Yeah.
anyway. Not only with the battery life, the battery size or the battery type.
Yep.
Everything's normally a 2032. This one's a
1632.
1632. So
Yeah.
that might be going with the battery life. That battery may be manufactured
That
different.
small,
it might be
you know,
it might
that
be
much
just
smaller.
different than than your normal 2032. Obviously, it's not like a huge deal because you can go Amazon or online, whatever. You
That's,
can
that's
buy
actually what I do is I get on Amazon and you do like a recurring, like a subscription.
Yeah.
And I get a new battery every 2 months.
Yeah.
And
So-
I don't need to switch out every 2 months, but I'd like to have extras in the range bags, different kits.
Yeah,
you
have
know,
some in
whatever
the
it may
truck
be.
or have some, whatever
Yep.
it may be, just to have them anyway. So yeah, the battery size.
Also, while you're talking about that, because it's something I didn't write down, the battery compartment
Compartment,
to
yeah.
open it, that's rough. If you don't have the actual tool that it comes with, you can. Most of the guys you see with MPSs, this top is all marred up, and because you try to put a screwdriver in there,
Yeah, your normal flathead really don't fit the
no,
greatest.
and it's very stiff. And
Yeah.
it's a pain in the butt. So those are the three kind of for that one little
For the whole battery.
subject.
For the whole, yeah. So yeah, the the battery life, the battery size or type, and then the actual battery compartment. It is nice though. I will kind of give it a little pro and con that the battery compartment is on top.
Yes,
I mean,
I
it's
do
not
like that.
underneath like the RMRs or even even the sides, which
The
we've
acro.
ran in.
Yeah, the
to
acro
with-
and the burst.
Yeah, the acro and the burst we ran into. Like it puts an extra 1/16 inch on the side or whatever to.
Plus, when you're pushing it out, and you can kind of see that battery
Yeah,
compartment
that
on the side,
little
it's
ledge
just,
on the side
you know,
kind of throws you off a little
little
bit.
bit.
Yeah. So another thing is the audible shake awake. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't think there is an auto off either, is there?
No, there's an auto off after 14 hours.
Okay.
So
Well, after
that is
14
nice.
hours, and you only have like 1,250 hours left, give or take. So it does have an auto off, but with the shake awake, I mean, a lot of your
really get into it.
Optics, even not even just necessarily pistol optics, but your rifle optics, whatever it may be, like we have the primary arms, the 3-bys and stuff. I mean, after I think it's like 20 minutes or something. It's something.
Yeah.
It turns off by itself. It has the auto awake or shake awake, whatever you want to call it. So that is a little, I don't want to say discouraging, but that is just,
It would help out the battery life a lot if it had
100%.
shake awake.
Yeah, because it wouldn't be just
constantly on or constantly off.
Another thing is the footprint. I mean, yes, it is an acro footprint that is more common than what it used to be, but still, it's one of those things where you have to get a special plate for.
Yep.
It's still a, you have, I don't even want to say you have more things to possibly fail, but you just have the lips, you just have the lips that grab onto the side.
If you guys have never seen like an acro footprint, like when you mount it up, it's kind of like a mini Picatinny section almost.
Yeah.
And just to give you an idea, Shadow Systems actually does make an acro cut slide.
Yeah.
So like if I got this knowing I was going to put a acro footprint optic on it, I could have specifically gotten that one, but then you're stuck to that footprint.
Yeah. But one thing I will say, it is kind of a con here coming up, but there is a lot of different companies that do offer the acro plate. So that is a good thing. But just kind of going to that, we'll fade into another one, is that there is also not a lot of aftermarket support.
Yeah, for the Steiner.
Yeah, for the Steiner itself.
It's not as popular as something like your acro or, even an RMR, Delta Point, anything like that.
Yeah. But yeah, so going on with that, we did kind of throw the price in the beginning a little bit, but the price could be a con as well for some people.
If you're paying full price, and what I'm going to say full price is like we got on Amazon, it was $479.99 today as of right now. You're sniffing $500. You've got to ask yourself, do the pros outweigh to the point to where you're getting real close to what you can find an Acro P2 for?
Yeah.
You can find an Acro P2 usually on sale for around $530, $540 sometimes. Is it worth spending an extra $50 and getting almost 5 times battery life? Having the aim point name on it. Don't get me wrong, we've all seen the different stuff floating around the internet and the aim points breaking and getting
having
like all the
moisture
fog
in
inside
it
of them and stuff. So, take that with what it is. We haven't had any issues. The MPS seems to be a super solid optic, but you've got to ask yourself if you're paying that kind of money.
Like I said, you can take our word for it. You can take this review or whatever it may be. You can even go back to see 9-10 months from now on the channel. It's not nearly as good of quality of content as what we do now. I know we've gotten a lot better since then, but we still had our first initial thoughts on it. So you can kind of see that really over the course of a year, nothing's much changed. Like I said, we do have to throw cons in there. You can't be like, this ain't got nothing. Like this is the best thing it's ever, since sliced bread.
I think the best way to kind of get this all sorted out is, if you were today buying a handgun, would you buy an MPS? Would that be in the running?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm from. If I knew what I knew exactly right now, 1 year ago when I was looking for an optic for this, I would definitely still buy the MPS.
Yeah, especially in the enclosed realm.
Yes.
You know what I mean? How everything's kind of.
Now, I'm not saying this. I'm not going to say that's an optic that's going to live on that gun forever, because it is a YouTube channel. We are going to be trying to run different stuff and
But
test
you're not
different
upset
gear.
at your purchase.
But if I wasn't doing this whole YouTube thing, that optic would sit on that gun for the next 10 years.
Yeah. But anyway, so with that, make sure you do hit that like, comment, subscribe button, turn on that notification so you know every time we drop a short or a video or anything in between. And as always,
We'll see you guys next time through Daily Dose of R&R.
we'll see you guys. My hands are numb.
Same. I'm putting gloves on.
Yeah, my hands are numb, dog.
Putting gloves on yesterday.